Alright, we should be good to go. Thinking the stream is going. Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another Moonshire Monday. I'm going to give it a couple minutes for the chat to catch up with itself, but I'm very excited for yet another stream. And I'm very proud that I still have not missed a single one yet. Very, very happy about that. I'm going to keep up the streak for as long as possible. And today we're going to be working on pixel art, specifically a lot of these decorations around the world. Oh, there's an ad? See, I need to work on ads. I need to, I'm thinking about demonetizing the streams or removing the ads because that's really obnoxious that it just blocks people. But I'm starting to see some people starting to show up. Give me 1 second. I'm still mixing the audio too. But I'm seeing folks like Green, Bees, and Wolf, and Sapphire, Krish. Hello. Thank you for being here. Also, before we start, I wanted to shout out and thank Roy BGB. Thank you so much for the donation. They donated $5 before the stream started, and that's really, really kind of you. Thank you. Really, really appreciate that. Your profile picture is dead on my chat overlay. Oh, no. Yeah, a couple people's are. Let me refresh it. Let me see if that changes anything. Okay. I'm curious if it works now. I'm wondering why that happened. Because I've noticed that happening occasionally. It's still broken. Dang it, what's going on? I wonder why that's happening. That's really, really weird. Well, we'll have to keep a lookout for all the other people's. Like, Old School Geeks is working. I wonder why theirs is working, but Wolf's isn't working. I'm gonna have to look more into that. But I noticed that too, where sometimes, just occasionally, the profile picture of people won't show up properly. And for folks that don't know, this is all like all that overlay above me. It's all custom code that I wrote myself to display all that stuff. So if there's a bug, it's something that I need to fix. But it's so funny. Abuos is not shown up, but Vanny ADM is. Hello there. Haven't seen you in a while, but I'm glad that I do now. Awesome. I'm glad that you're here. One small announcement is that finally, this week is the week. I am publishing a video this week. And I know that I've said that before, but this time the video is actually done. And I have the profile, or I have the thumbnail ready. And I am so excited to finally break my hiatus. It's been so freaking long. It's been so long since I posted a video, but I finally have it ready. In fact, like I'm gonna show the thumbnail because part of why I haven't posted it yet is because I'm still overcoming the cringe factor. So when you're making videos, especially when you're starting out, and I'm starting out with filming myself IRL, like all of my videos up to this point have not really had my face included. I'm not in the thumbnail. I don't really appear in the videos, but recently I've been trying to change that where I'm trying to appear in the videos, in the thumbnail more frequently, and I'm not very comfortable with that. Like I'm still getting used to that whole process. And since that's the case, like all of the stuff that I film and all these photos I take and the thumbnails and stuff, it feels very cringy to me. And I still keep making adjustments, but like, and like, I'll just show you what I'm talking about. So the video is about how I've been working on the same game since 2009. So I'll pull up the thumbnail. It's actually kind of funny. It's a very like YouTuber thumbnail where I look really sad and I look really upset that I've been working on the same game since 2009. But I don't know, something about it still feels very cringy to me. Old School Geek, a new member, thank you so much. Oh my gosh, it's amazing. I really, really appreciate the support. Thank you so much, Old School Geek, the new member. That's the best picture I've ever seen. Thank you. I'm glad that you think it's good. It is, I think we can agree, at least it's funny. It is funny. But that's what I'm going to be using for the thumbnail this coming week. What advantages does Love2D have over an engine like Godot? Just that it's open, well I guess Godot is also open source, but just that it's code-focused, lightweight. How far should one go into making its enemy AI being able to follow the player, finding paths around dynamic obstacles, etc.? What's my approach? Yeah, that's a good question, and let me show, because I don't have a really super good example, but I have at least my tile states that I can show in this version. So if I go over to my draw, the way I handle pathfinding, and I did make a video about this on my channel. I have one. Music of Banger's kind of loud. Thank you for letting me know. Let me adjust that. Yeah, I need to keep a better eye on that. Oh, it is definitely, it was too loud. Yeah, on my stream setup, I can see the audio levels, and there's a specific point where I know it sounds good, and that song was going a bit above that. One thing I would change since the 2009 and 2025, I blend a little with the background because it's pixel art. Yeah, that's a good call out. Let me pull it up real quick. I was experimenting with the fonts a little bit too because, oh yeah, and JJK, you actually know what you're doing with thumbnails, so. I'm with you that I'm working on the fonts a little bit. Here, I'll actually pull up the Inkscape project for this. I thought making a new logo today. No, I made a new logo last week, but I can pull that up. Actually, there's so many things I want to show. The logo I worked on last week, I put more work into it since last time. Inkscape? Yeah, I'm a big fan of Inkscape. Let's see, I think this is the logo. No, that's the low-res version. Sorry, there's so many things that I want to show, and it's like all in different spots. First, okay, before I go on to the thumbnail, I want to show the logo that I was working on last week, because that was... Or actually, no, we're still on the topic of the freaking thumbnail. Let's go ahead and do this. So this is the thumbnail project that I was working on. This is how I frame it, is with this like purple thing, but you know, we'll just hide that for now. And one thing that JJK was talking about is the font, and I'm totally with you that the font being pixel art, it's not as bright and stand out as some other ones. Maybe glow on the text or more drop shadow on the text. That's a good idea. I think that that would help. Like, I added a glow around my head, and I think that helps a lot with making it stand out. A glow around the text could work, so let me try doing that. Okay, I'm gonna move the frame for a second. And by the way that I do my thumbnails, where I have this Inkscape project where it's all messy like this, I don't think this is normal. I don't think this is how most people design their images, but it is how I do it, where I have a big canvas of all these like random things. Oh, Father, hi, welcome in. I'm working on the thumbnail right now. So one thing I'm going to try is adding glow around these, and again, the way I do everything is kind of dumb, because I don't really know how to do art. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ungroup this. The way that this is set up is it's actually two different images. So what this is actually going to be is going to be one shadow for the drop shadow, this one for the main text, and then this one's going to sit over top, and it's going to have blur. Oh, that's not going to work. I have to put it underneath. Let's see. Where are the different layers? Oh. Okay, so let's grab this, and then we're going to have it blurred. I might need to increase the scale a little bit too. You usually just use Photoshop. Yeah, I could use GIMP, but I just know how to use Inkscape really well. So at least I can get things accomplished. So there's my glowing 2009, and you know, part of the problem with adding glow is that it makes the pixels less sharp. And I think in this case, I don't really know if glow is going to make it better. I think that glow looks better on some, because I was also experimenting with some high-res fonts like over here, because if I do that same process, I think it'll look better with this font where I make it blurred, and then we're going to turn this one, make it black, make sure this one goes over top, so we need to reorder this and do that. And actually we're going to put these two over top of each other like this. Oh, that looks pretty, like, see, that looks really nice. That looks like a glowing neon sign. This looks really, really cool. When is Moonshire launching? I wish I knew Cloudy Gaming, but thanks for the patience while I figure things out. The thing is, I keep changing directions on the project, and I really want it to turn out good. But this looks nice. So if I was using a high-res font, I think that using a glow like JJK was suggesting would look really good, because it looks like it's this bright neon cool. The problem though, oh, that actually does look kind of nice. I think that I should consider that more. Being ADM, have I worked more on Silksong? No, unfortunately I have not. I have not played Silksong since September 8th. That was the last day that I played Silksong, so it's been a couple weeks. If I make the glow another color than the font. Oh, that's a cool idea. Okay, I'm gonna try that on both of these, so we can do a comparison. So, by the way, the reason why I use a big board like this is because it gives me the option to try out a lot of different things. Like you can see I'm trying out a whole bunch of different backgrounds and fonts, and like I had this little character here, and I don't know. There's lots of different things I was trying. And actually, this isn't even the original board. I had an earlier one. Let me open that one because that one's probably more interesting to look at. This one's gonna have some earlier drafts of this attempt. This looks like the same thing. Oh, I guess it doesn't. Never mind. I watch some videos on making tile RPG. Is there a way to code? Is there a code your own tile editor in Love2D rather than downloading other software? So, let me think. How would I do that? Yeah, it's definitely possible, but it takes a lot of effort to. There's a few things to answer that question. One is you're going to need to have some code in your project. In my case, I have this software, or this library called STI. Code, libraries, STI. It's a joke that they called it that. But the this file is pretty big and complex. And what this file does is it helps with managing all the different tiles and splitting them up from the tile sheet. And because when you use you stopped using it, yeah, and I understand that it takes some getting used to, and there's some quirks with it. I would not recommend trying to design tiled worlds without using a separate tile set editor, because it is really complex. But you could design it like as an image. Like you could open up like MS Paint and then manually drag all the tiles in place and create one big image just for your background, and then use that as the background for your game. That's what I think you should do if you're not making a big collection of multiple levels. Okay, someone suggested changing the glow color. I'm gonna see if that looks any good. So we can like tint it like blue. And that does look better on the pixel font, just because. And also, you know, I made the pixel one big. Maybe I should make it the exact same size. So we'll do this and then blur it. Also, the other thing I can do, what I should do actually, this is gonna be better, is I'm going to add stroke to it, a white stroke. So now it's slightly thicker, and then I can blur it. So then the blur, this is gonna be better. This is gonna be better. And then I need to make sure that this is in the right spot. I don't want this to be above the other one. Okay. No, it's actually in the wrong spot. There we go. Well, whatever. It broke your game on mobile. I've actually never tried it on mobile, so that's a good call out. What the heck? Wait, what's going on here? These are like grouped for some reason. That's strange. Ooh, editing software. This is called Inkscape. For the this is for vector art. So I'm not liking this very much. Oh yeah, we were gonna try a different color. So instead of white, let's give it the light blue. That does look kind of nice. I love seeing thumbnail creation. It's funny that thumbnail creation it's surprisingly, it's so time consuming. All like this it took so long to get the picture of myself, and also you can kind of see the difference if you look really closely. I edited the picture of myself to be more sad. So I took this picture of me, and you can put it like side by side. If you look really closely at my face here, you can see that I edited the eyes or the eyebrows so that I look more sad, and I made my mouth a little bit more of a frown. So it's when I did this, it made me laugh really hard. Currently planning out my game. Have any tips? Yeah, the main tip is to like do some planning, sure, but the main tip is to just get started and try things out, because when you plan things out, most of the times those plans aren't going to like pan out how you expect them to. So in my opinion, it's always better just to make things, try it out, and then from there see if it works or not. So this looks fine. I think that it's a bit too much when I have this much blur. I'll probably tone it down. Well, then when it's not enough, it's kind of like too harsh. Actually, what I can do is I can tone it down, but then decrease the opacity. So it's like a subtle glow. That's what I think it should be. That looks way better. This one's good because the problem with the old blur is that it just kind of like rounded the corners, but thumbnails is such a crazy thing that people don't realize how long it actually takes. 5 different thumbnails for like 2 to 3. Yeah, exactly. Same here. Is that I spend so much time on one thumbnail, and then I have to iterate on that same one multiple times. Like I probably spend more time on the thumbnail. Well, I shouldn't say more time, but I spend like a day or two sometimes. I'm on day number 2 of this thumbnail. But when I do a glow like this, I think it looks pretty good because it's subtle and it's still, like, you can still see the square shape in the glow itself. And I think that's an important key. So that makes it look a lot better. And seeing this side by side with the 2025 one, I think the glow one does look a little bit better. Maybe? Let's see. Do I work on weekends? Yeah, I'd say so. Really, I work whenever I feel like it, which is not really a good strategy. It's better to work when work on a schedule. But yeah, I work on weekends. It's more that I work when I think, or when I just like feel inspired. And thankfully right now that works out to a pretty consistent schedule. But it is better to be disciplined about it, where you work the same time on the same days. Games design themselves, that's a good way of putting it, yeah. It's that, it's just speaking personally, when I design things on paper, it never really works out how I planned it out on paper. So when you just try it instead, you can learn really quickly what works and what doesn't. I'm surprised I included this song in my playlist. I bet it's going to be demonetized. A lot of the Final Fantasy music gets demonetized. Okay. Whoop, wrong thing. Any apps for a pixel game? Well, so there's a few things, because also, by the way, I think it looks pretty nice with the glow. There's pixel art, which I do all my pixel art designs in Sprite, so I recommend Sprite for pixel art. But then in terms of like the game engine, you can really use whatever you want, because any of the big name ones like Unity or Godot will be fine, or Game Maker. But then I use Love2D, and that also works fine. I think any of them are going to be okay for you. Unfortunate, because this one is so good. Yeah, I like this song too. Actually, when I was in college, I took a piano class, and the final project we had to learn and perform a song in front of the whole class, and this is the song I learned, and it's a good one. I do like it. But like as I've been doing these streams, I've been spending more time. Our Kingdom Hearts OST is copyrighted. I have a few of them, and they have not been struck. So far, no. So far they're okay, but I don't have very many. So I'm on the fence about this glow versus no glow. I think it looks pretty good. I'm going to keep the old version. For some reason, I didn't keep a version of this without the glow. So I'm going to take this off. I just pulled its soul out. See, what's nice about no glow is that it really does look very sharp. And I do like the sharpness of that. Oh, come on. When I was 3 years old, I could hear a song on the radio and pick out the melody on a piano. My career path was music until I discovered computers in 1981. That's amazing. That's so cool. I'm kind of the same way where I like trying to recreate things, but I'm not much of a piano player. I'm more of a guitar player. and with that, I feel like I can pick up on melodies pretty decently. The piano class I took was really fun though, because it is just stretching new muscles that I'm not familiar with. It looks good, yeah, but you were right. The glow looks weird with the pixel font. I don't know. Yeah, it's they're both nice. They're both nice in different ways. The glow looks amazing on the high res font. If I switched to a high res font, I would put a glow on it. But I'm thinking that for now, at least with this version, I'm just going to stick with the regular one. I don't know. I'll leave it as is because I'm not done yet. I might come back to this later. But the other thing I wanted to show is. Let's see, is the logo that I was working on last week. So last week, we were looking at different fonts to use. And there was a font online called Cinzel. And I'll open up, I'll show you guys the full process that I went through to get to the final version. Because there's a few things that I wanted to do. So this is the font that I decided to go with, is this font here. It's called, let's see if I can find it. Cinzel Decorative, excuse me. So I found this font that I liked, and then I typed out Moonshire and all of these different like weights. So there's the semi-bold and the heavy and all these different ones. So I typed it out in all these different versions. And I was just like looking through all of them to see which versions of each letter did I like the most. Nightmare Before Christmas vibes, kinda. You know what vibes it gave me was Evanescence. It reminds me of Evanescence because the Evanescence font from their original album looks like this, and it's hard for me to oversee that. But the thing with fonts is that I think every font has been used in some way on some project in some way or another. You know, this does give me Nightmare Before Christmas vibes because it does feel kind of festive a little bit. But regardless, I was going through all these different versions of this font and looking for the versions of each character that I like the most. And then I started like picking them off one by one and putting them into a document. So I'm going to go ahead and show that too. So here's the first canvas that I went with. So I started by taking this version at the top, Moonshire, and it looks like I mixed the two rings together too, because back in Inkscape, there's this version here where the rings fit together, and it looks really nice. It does that automatically when you have two O's next to each other. But I didn't really like how it looked with the heavy. Like, look how this doesn't look very good right here. So I'm like, okay, it looks better with the thin font. So I started mixing and matching the bold ones and the not bold ones. So then I came up with this one. And overall, I think that looks pretty decent. But then I took it a step further where this curly O, I think this looks really nice. It's a really nice looking curly O. So I wanted to kind of mix them together. And you can see I was experimenting with the circles a little bit more to combine them and make something more unique. Landed on this where it kind of curls together a little bit better. So these two at the bottom are closer, but they're still not the final version. And actually you can see it kind of looks like I was in the middle of something because there's a big gap right here that I wasn't finished with. Also, I tried combining the S into the N here. It does not do that naturally, and I think I took that out. So moving on, I created a new canvas where I kept going, and this is more representative of the final version, is these, especially this one, the second one. So this second one is pretty close to what I'd say is what I'm going for. And it's like, and you can kind of see it's like a mixture of all of these different fonts, and also it's a mixture of the original font too, because the original font was this one. This is the original font, or the original logo that V designed, and you can see that he made like this crescent moon shape for the O. I really like that. I also liked his eye. I think that the eye he made for his logo is really good too. So I took his eye and I kind of combined it. So you can see I put in his eye right there rather than the original Moonshire, and then I it looks like I made a new crescent moon in Inkscape. Yeah, here. That's pretty cool. Yeah, I made this crescent myself because the original one that V made is good, but it's not big enough. It is big enough, but it's not curved in enough, I think. I just want to say, hey, you've been a big inspiration for me. I've started my own game in GameMaker. I've been working with a dev for 1.5 years, and it's going well. Awesome. That's really, really cool. I'm glad to hear that. I'm a big fan of GameMaker. T for 2 is going to be my first game. I'm trying to get tips for from Pixel Game Creators. Sorry, I'm so sorry for stuttering. I'm working hard on improving my speech and not slipping up on my words. I have a big problem where I read too fast or I speak too fast, and I need to work on that. But anyway, so the logo that I'm working on right now is this one, and I like it. I think that's a good direction for things, but it still needs to be cleaned up a bit. I bet that if I zoom in, I'll probably find some weird artifacts because I made a lot of changes to it. Looks like this one's okay. I think that it's when it's a little bit harsh around this edge because I kind of drew this in. Also, I think that this N is too thick. I was thinking about that earlier too, where I made this N extra thick, but I want to maybe squish it in a little bit more. Don't sweat the speech thing, man. I'm in sales and I slip all the time. Customers still buy. Well, that's awesome. That's good to hear. At the same time, though, I think we can agree, though, it is better if you don't flub your speech. Like, it's a good thing to practice. I'm with you, though. It's not that big of a deal, and people understand when you stutter or when you slur your speech a little bit. It's not that big of a deal, but it is better to not do that if you can. So I think I talked that the name of the stream is pixel art. Let's go ahead and do some pixel art. The thing I wanted to do in this stream is kind of work on the plants. So if I open up the game, there's these swaying plants on the ground. And I want to kind of revisit these because the way I coded the images is a little bit basic. And I want to improve it a bit. So give me one moment because I have I have so much junk open right now. I'm starting with game development, and errors are so frustrating if you don't have that much experience. Yeah, I think that that's a big thing that a lot of people have to get used to, is that you run into problems a lot, you run into errors a lot, and debugging is its own skill. And if you don't get that experience, then you'll run into problems later on that it's going to be really hard to unstuck yourself if you don't have that like down in the trenches sort of mentality with coding. It is really hard at times. So I was going to show the... Oh, shoot. I need to go to the different one. Okay, Moonshire, Sprites. So I have this environment folder. This is so disorganized, but I should have plants. Plants. Yeah, here we go. Plants. Okay. So here's all my plant sprites. Now the problem with these plant sprites is that they're split up into individual pieces. So like I have Sprout 1, Sprout 2, or Sunflower 2, Sunflower 3, Sunflower 1, when those are all part of the same sprite. And I really don't like that they're split up like that. So I'm going to show you these three. The sunflower is formed by taking these three layers and layering them together. So you have this layer, the sunflower layer, and then this layer. It's 2 leaf layers and then the sunflower. When in doubt, print it out, basically. I mean, that's really, really true, though, is that I put print statements all over my code to see where things go wrong. But what I want to do is make it so all of these images are in one single sprite sheet. And this is unusual because normally in my game, if there's ever a sprite sheet, that normally means... My dumb browser crashed again. I'm so sorry. Is the chat still working? God, I'm so frustrated that every time I stream... Look, not enough memory to open this page? Are you kidding me? That there's a memory leak in the web page for the live chat. Because this is where I read chat from, is this web page right here. And every time I stream, it doesn't matter which browser, by the way, if I'm using Edge or if I'm using Chrome, it always crashes because it has not enough memory to open this page. That's ridiculous. That is ridiculous that it crashes because it's out of memory. So annoying. I think that I can just refresh it, though. Still annoying. I don't like that. Yeah, Chrome has been crashing on me, too. While watching YouTube. Man, bummer. But, yeah, I'm glad that my chat's still up. So I had a version of this chat overlay above me that would read chat from an open browser window, but that ended up not working because the browser kept crashing. It's so weird. Also, I have a cowlick right here. Oh well. So what I'm going to try and do is, rather than have this all split up into different sprites, I'm going to take these and combine them into one single sprite sheet. So I'm going to take this. So this is 13 by 29. I'm going to make... Oh, I'm going to make it 14 by 29, actually, because there needs to be space. Actually, I'm going to make it 14 by 30. 14 by 30. 14 by 30, but then there's 3 of them, so it's actually 42. So all I'm going to do is place... Oh, no, it's actually 15. Oh, I'm so dumb. Okay, it's 15 that I need to do. Because if I take this and then I add a pixel on each side. So it's 15 by 30, and then there's 3 of them, so it's 45. Silly me. So we're going to put this here. And, you know, I might as well show the grid so it's even clearer what I'm talking about. Was 15 by 30. And then we'll take this one. There's that one. No non-trivial piece of software is ever bug-free. The corollary. I haven't heard that word for a while. If a piece of software is bug-free, it must, by definition, be trivial. Whoa, that's clever. I like that. My mom used to say something similar, where it was, if a restaurant is busy, that's a sign that it's really good. But also at the same time, in my mind, I don't like to go to a busy restaurant because it's busy, and I don't want to deal with that. Kind of reminds me of that. Let me make sure I place this in the right thing. 1, 2, 3, 4. I think I have this too high. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I do have this too high. Okay, so the whole goal with having it in one sprite sheet is that now when I make plants, the whole goal is that I don't have to have this split up, because right now each of these sunflower pieces are split up into sunflower 1, sunflower 2, and sunflower 3, and it's taking up so much extra annoying space in this plants folder, and I just want to get rid of that completely. It makes a lot more sense to have one single sprite sheet, and then the code is able to split this up. Kind of, we were talking about this a little bit earlier with animations, where you can, or tile sheets. How tiles are the same way, where you have one big image, and then you have code that splits it up. Like if I go, I'm gonna pull up the tile sheets like this. So you have all these tiles, and all these tiles are on one single big image, but there's code in my Lua scripts that's able to look at this image and incrementally go through and figure out where all the tiles are, what their dimensions are, and give me options for clicking on each one and organizing them in the right way. So I'm going to try saving this, and I'm going to save it to a different folder too. One thing I've been working on is migrating all of the content of the game over into a new folder so that all of the, because this game has been in development for so long that there's been so much stuff cut. There's so much stuff cut that there's been so much garbage, leftover content that's been just sitting around not really doing anything. So here in the sprites folder, I want to make a new folder. What should I call it? Plants. Should plants be like decoration? Should I call it decorations? Decorations maybe? Or I don't want to call it plants. See, this is a moment when I would ask ChatGPT, like, what's an alternative word for decoration? Alt words for decoration. Because I don't want to name this decorations because decoration is such a long word. Garnish. That's so funny. I don't like any of these. Like an outdoor decoration, like a plant. Foliage, flora, feature. Feature's not bad. Fixture's okay too. Accent, you use Copilot. I mean, I use Copilot sometimes. I use Copilot for searching online for stuff, or for doing like what I'm doing right now, where it's like I'm looking for synonyms. It's perfect for this. It's perfect for this because the alternative is I Google it and I go through like some random websites that give me similar lists. It's not very helpful. So this is a really good use for something like Copilot. I would say that brainstorming words and word choices is a really big one. I use GitHub Copilot a little bit too, where you can open up the chat window and give it specific things to work on. What did I have it do here? Oh, I had it. It has this LCL get function. So I actually told Copilot to write that in the language file. Let's see it. It wrote this function here, where this is the perfect type of function for GitHub Copilot or some AI coding to do, because it's just parsing a string. This is very easy things to do. This is something that like a CS major would do in their first or second year, which is great. And it's very clinical and very strategic, very mathematical to parse a string. And it's a perfect thing to ask Copilot to do because it's so clinical. Decor. Yeah, I think that what Ravy said, decor is my favorite one rather than plants, because oops, this is the wrong folder. Here, 1 second. I have too many windows open. I have to reopen it. So what I call decorations. Decor is not bad. The thing is, I'm gonna have an object type called prop, but I guess props are just decor too, so I'm gonna call it decor. Are we going to get into another AI conversation? I mean, knowing me, yes, but I'm gonna try not to. It does feel like it always goes that way, doesn't it? Oh, I remember why. It's because I was here. This is where I created that folder. So we'll put this here. PNG, and then the sunflower. So we now have the sunflower PNG, and here it is. It's in the decor folder. Perfect. Go ahead and close this. Would define statics and other objects. Yeah, I do still have to do that. Let's see if I game. So I'd say this kind of counts as that, is like when you start up the game, I have a bunch of code that it initializes, especially game.load. Actually, load is probably the best example of that, because here in load it creates a few global requires, and then some other global settings. So I'd say that kind of falls into the same ideas. So now that I have this sunflower PNG, I actually kind of want to do the same thing for the other plants too. And I'm wondering if I should keep it in here. One more thing. Alt word for prop, because prop is another word that I was considering using when I'm making art for. All the art I'm working for today is that's the wrong type of prop. More like set piece, stage, fixture. Fixture's not bad, but fixture means something else in that object is too vague. Dressing. Accent. I don't know. We're just gonna keep it as decor. Because I've been really cautious about how I'm organizing these sprites. Here, I'm gonna pull up my old organization too. So currently, I'm trying to reorganize this sprites folder. And man, I'm so sorry that the text is tiny. I literally cannot make the text bigger on Windows. There is not a way for me to make this text bigger. I can make the text up here bigger, but I literally can't think of any way. I tried everything. I can use Windows Zoom so we can see these. But I have all these different folders for all the different sprites, and I'm trying to reorganize them into a bit more of a compact set of folders. And decor works, but there's these props. I have this type of sprite called props, and I think I kind of want to keep that because there's going to be a lot of props in the game. Meanwhile, the plants like sunflowers are a completely different type of entity compared to props. So I don't think I actually want to call it decor. I think I want to call it... I might call it plants. I might call it plants, and then we're gonna have a different one called props. Do I already have? I already have a props folder. I already added props to the game. One of my characters in the game should speak in either British English if the game is in American. That's a cool idea. And that's the thing, is that with the way localization works is I can have different locale codes. And this is something that you'll find across all software, by the way, is you'll have these language codes. So in my case, currently, I only have two. I have English and I have French. But if we go online, there is... I need to find my browser. I18N language codes. It says this page is no longer maintained, but I think this is close enough. So you can see next to every language, there's a small code. So if I go to English, it says EN, but there's... Why it doesn't show all of them? This is a really bad site. This site doesn't show all of them. Here we go. This is a better example, because this actually has all of them. I wish it told us what the language it represents is, but the idea is EN represents English, but then you can have EN-AU, which maybe that's like Australian English, maybe Canadian English, and is this Irish English, New Zealand, US. Where was... I thought that there was an EN-EU, but I don't see that on this list. So, whatever language you speak, your language probably corresponds to these codes. And it's always a good idea if you go to specific websites. Like, I'm going to try... I remember this being the case for Microsoft.com. Look at this. So I typed in Microsoft.com, and it automatically appended this n-us to the end of the URL. And you can try this out yourself on your own browser. If your browser is in a language that's not English, and you go to a website like Microsoft.com, it's probably going to redirect it to the appropriate locale code, because every single site I shouldn't say every single site, but most big sites are going to have a lot of different localizations so that different people around the world are able to read it. In fact, I bet if I change this specifically to like a different language code, like what's a different one? FR. I think that'll just change the site to French. And it did. Check that out. Huh? How about that, Wolf? Are you able to read this now? But that's one thing that you should be on the lookout for while you're browsing the web, is that if you see these little language codes in the browser window or in the URL, now you don't speak English. Yeah, as if you weren't. Yeah, how are you moderating the stream if you're not able to read English? But this is some when I worked for Microsoft, I worked on front end a lot, and managing the different localizations and translations was a really big task, because whenever you make any text, any string for anything, it has to be able to be translated when it's put onto a different language, like setup. And like when the sites I worked on at Microsoft, there was like 18, I think, different languages. Maybe there was more of them, actually. They translate every chat message in real time to moderate. Yeah, Wolf's over there with Google Translate, and she's just like reading everything in real time. That'd be really impressive. I don't even remember what I was... Oh, I was working on the plants. So yeah, to keep on theme with the title of the stream, I am actually going to start compiling more of the sprite sheets. Even though I don't know if I'm going to be able to... You have 3 monitors for a reason. That's awesome. We get rid of all of these. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to start taking the environment and then the plants. I'm going to start going through all of these and combining the different ones that shouldn't be separated like that. So we have these two are called angle. This is called... I called this angle, but this is more like a sprout. And also this is 16 by 16. I guess it's okay for it to be 16 by 16. There's no reason it can't be. So we're going to make it width 32, height 16. We're going to take this one, put it there. What the heck? Oh, it's 15 by 15. Why did I make it 15 by 15? That's really dumb. I don't like that. I don't know why I did that. Morning Child Kid in chat. Hi, welcome in Rescue Squad. Cope. Why is everything looking 2011 Windows? I'm not sure what you mean. Well, I mean, I guess this software kind of looks old school. Take this. I think the reason why I chose 15 as opposed to 16 is because I wanted it to be centered. So I am going to actually change the dimensions of this. I'm going to make it 9 by 16. Or maybe 9 by... I'm going to make it 9 by 8. Or 8 by 8. No, I'm going to make it 9 by 9. Yeah, like this. No, that's not enough. Dang it. I'm so bad at this. I know what I'm doing like right now is very, very, very not important. All I'm trying to do is make sure that these two will be lined up properly, and I think they will. Oh, they actually wouldn't. There we go. So like, when you're compiling things into a sprite sheet, it is kind of hard when they're not actually overlapping like this, because when I have it like this, I can actually put them over top of each other. But when they're in a single grid like this, it's hard to really gauge that, so I had to be a little bit more cautious. Oh, I love having all my folders and stuff visible on screen. This is for the particles or solid props. This is for kind of in between, where it's for the grass, where this one's called sprout. So all these grass particles on the ground, These are made up by a collection of different sprites, and right now I'm trying to organize them a little bit better. And they're not solid, but you can still interact with them. Like, you can cut them. So there's that one. Let's move on to another one. What the heck? Why? Oh, that one that I just added, I actually don't use that one, so I need to get rid of that. That's annoying. Yeah, that one that I just put in there is cut. Yeah, this one I don't use, so I have to get rid of it. This is the one that I use. So that was kind of dumb of me. I'm just going to keep it at the exact same dimensions, 15 by 15, whatever, that's fine. Make an Easter egg in your game. I'll do that later. The reason I haven't been doing Easter eggs is just because things change so frequently, and I don't really know what to put in, and it's more like a priorities thing. If I work on an Easter eggs, that's not working. That's time spent not working on something that's more important. So, I don't like this is so big. I guess I can just keep it at 15 by 15. That's okay. And actually, if I keep it at 15 by 15, then that makes the sprite... Okay, I think that's what I should do. Is I'm going to keep it at 15 by that, and then... Oh my gosh. I keep going back and forth. I'm so sorry that I'm kind of scatterbrained right now. Okay, and then this one. Putting Easter eggs in too early can make them go bad over time. That's a very true, a very egg-appropriate analogy, and very, very true. It's more like... Yeah, I mean, that's basically true, is that the novelty of an Easter egg wears off over time, so I'd rather wait until the very end of development to put something in. So this one's the sprout. The old one that I put in was not the sprout. Okay, then we're going to put in the tall grass. So this is another one. This is the regular blades of grass. So this is the most common one. And same deal. This one's 16 by 16. I guess that's okay. I wish that they were all the same, but I guess there's no reason for them to be the same. I made other games in the past. Yeah, I made a bunch, but I wouldn't say I've published too many of them. The only one I really published was Necrozone. Everything else is just like I make videos about them. I guess I published Cavern too. That one's on GitHub. I like Cavern. I think that's a good game. Tall.png. Should I call it tall? I think I'm going to change it. Instead of calling it tall, I think I'm going to call it grass. Because that's all it is. It's just grass. So rather than calling it tall, I'm just going to call it grass. So the other thing that I forgot about this aspect of this refactor is in this list of plants, there's so many of them. So dumb. Oh, and the flowers. I need to do that too. Is I have dark variants. So I have something like tall grass 1, but then I also have tall dark. And it's just the same exact sprites. Like, you see this sprite here versus this sprite here. It's the same sprite. I just colored it differently. So that's a waste of space for me to have separate sprites for this very slightly recolored version. It's just not worth it. Tall, dark, and handsome grass. Yeah, that's okay. Tall, dark, and handsome. I love that. But my point with mentioning that is that rather than having separate sprites for the tall, dark, and handsome grass, I can just programmatically code it so that they appear darker. So you can kind of see it in the game too. Like these two blades of grass right where the player is, the one to the left, this one here, is brighter than this one to the right, because just the plot of grass that it's on is lighter on the left versus in this darker section to the right, and Can't you adjust the brightness in Lua? Yes, that's exactly what I'm saying, is that the way I was doing it before with separate sprites was kind of dumb, because I'm able to just programmatically tell it, okay, when you're in one of these darker spots, just shade yourself to be a bit darker than the default sprite. So that's what I'm going to do. And so with those changes, I went from all of these sprites here to just these three, and that's all I need. I guess I could put the climb vine back. I do like this one. I'm actually, no, I'm going to keep it out because I can always add it back later if I need it. Old. Those are some pretty old sprites. Flower 1, Flower 2, Shrub, Sprout. Yeah, I remember those two. So that's the other nice thing about changing folders and completely migrating things over, is that now I can move all these out. What the heck? Oh, is that what angle's for? Okay. I think that this is kind of an interesting idea. Looks like the way I had this handled before is this angle would combine with the flowers. That's what was going on. So let's actually look at this. Plants. This is the wrong one. If I look at flower, oh, look at this. Layer ID. That's so strange. So some of these flowers do use, like, they mix themselves with other layers. So I guess I should do the same thing. I guess I do need this angle one. This is used for the big bulbous flowers. So I guess I'll go ahead and make that. Can you tell you what the game's about? It's just a game about running around and hitting stuff and exploring. And in terms of like the lore, that's not settled yet. I've come up with different lore ideas, but in terms of specifically what the lore is, I haven't finalized anything. Do I use one color palette for all of Moonshire or individual palettes for each sprite? That's an awesome question. And what I do is I start with a color palette. So I have this default palette. So this palette here is one that I edited and kind of I found online. And you can import the palette into tiled, or into, not tiled, into a sprite, excuse me. And now all of these colors are it's like a starting point. These aren't all of the colors that I use, but it is the starting point that I use. And like this example right here, this leaf, I don't think that any of these are from the color palette, but these are close. Oh. They're really not close at all. Wow. Never mind. Yeah, I guess I guess I changed my grass to be a lot more blue than my palette is. Because it looks like I took this. It looks like I took this color green, but then I hue shifted it over to the blue. See, like now that's closer. That's funny. So my color palette ain't up to date. It's old school. Demo equals free? Yeah, definitely. I love to play this game for free. Yeah, the demo is going to be free always. And when I update the game with the new version, it's going to... that demo version is going to be free as well. What actually is the difference between Angle and Sprout? Are they different? They look the same. No, they are different. Oh, they are different. Yeah, this one like points straight up. Okay, so I do need angle. They are different. So I'll go ahead and grab this. This is going to be 30 by 15. Oh, that was the wrong one. we go. I like to figure out palettes with color theory for individual sprites, but I haven't been super consistent with the universal palette. Yeah, I'm the same way. It's more like, I felt like the palette was too constraining for me, where I would be designing a character or an object, and I would be using these colors, and they would look fine, but I'd be like, it would look a little bit better if things were just a little bit different. So I eventually, over time, I just started to branch out and do my own thing. Because originally I started with a palette because I didn't trust my own judgment. I didn't trust my ability to decide on good colors, but at this point I feel like I'm confident enough to be able to do that. So we have grass, we have sprout, and then we have angle. And angle actually combines with the flowers. And I can take... Should I keep the flowers in a folder? I think I guess I should, since they're already in there. Okay, so now I have the angle, and I have the flowers too. So these are like the stems, and that must have been my intention the whole time, where I keep this like rose sprite. This is completely separate from the angle sprite, but then I can combine them later on. But that actually does make sense, because that's how it does look in game. If I go into the game and look at these flowers, yeah, you can see them here, is that it's combining different layers together to create the flower shape. And actually it looks pretty good. I do like it. But that does also mean more work whenever it's like that. It's not a problem. I think the colors in Moonshire look super nice, so your strategy definitely works. Thank you! I think the colors look nice too. But they definitely could use some work. And also I use shaders to adjust things too. Really, as I'm kind of going through all this, I should be adjusting all of these tile sprites as well. Because if I go into like... these, for example, this shade of brown is actually not super accurate, because in the game I have shaders active. I can go over to shaders, and I have things like boosting the saturation. You can make the saturation really strong. I showed this last week too, but I always like showing this. It's kind of one of my favorite things. You could bring the green down. Ooh, look how purple it's getting. It's kind of hard to look at. Let's boost the red. And boost the blue. Wow, that is... this is hard to look at. This is painful. But yeah, the colors in the game can be adjusted on the fly. Wow, that is painful. That is just so painful to look at. You call one function to get the player X position, and another function to get the mouse Y position. What was the actual question? How can you make the player move to the mouse cursor? I'm sorry for missing your question. Yeah, so the mouse cursor can be translated into world position coordinates. And then if you have the position of the player and the position of the mouse, you can have things move toward other things. And in my case, I use vectors. I have a lot of vectors in my game to move things towards other points. I think that I have a utils to mouse. So I have this, I wrote this function here called toMouseVector, where let's say I had the player's position XY, it would get the mouse's position, translate it to the world position, and then give us a vector that points from this point, from this XY position to the mouse's XY position. And then when you have a vector, you're able to use this to like do calculations and actually apply changes to the position of different objects. Maybe make it a sunset area. Yeah, there's all kinds of vibes you can give to this. Another one I had was, I think if I leave the area, it'll reset. Another one I had was, if you completely desaturate the world, it'll turn into like grayscale. So if I can turn it all the way down, that's another really funny one. Why green instead of yellow? For what specifically? I don't remember. Okay. So now we have a grayscale world. I like this too. This is really cool. I feel like I'm like trapped in a alternate dimension or something. This is definitely something I could see being, oh, whoops. I didn't mean to, I shouldn't have left. I don't use the game engine, right? Also, when will you update the game demo on Steam? So I don't use the game engine, but I do use the game framework. So I use something called Love 2D, and it provides a bunch of functions to help out with getting things set up and running. Handles like the game window and rendering graphics. So I use Love 2D for getting things working, but yeah, most of the logic and scripting and stuff is handled outside of a game engine, just through custom code, and it works well. I like it a lot. When will I update the game on Steam? It's going to be a bit longer though. I wish I had a better ETA. Browser crashed for the first time since I started MOONSHIRE Monday. I don't think so. Did it crash? I mean, so it crashed earlier in the stream, but it looks like the chat's still working for me at least. How's my main work? Oh yeah, so this is actually a good one. So this is an updated main. I have two versions of main. I have this one, and then I have the original version. So if I go over to main.lua in this one, so this main.lua is a lot more straightforward, but it's also a lot messier. So I have love.load, and it creates like a bunch of global variables. It requires like the game start process, and it loads the game. Then I have the update function, I have the draw function, and I have all these other ones. But it's a lot of like hard-coded stuff. And I didn't like how long and messy this file was. So in my new version, my main.lua is a lot simpler. There's only 13 lines, and all it's doing is it's requiring different files and pulling them into this one. Oh, your browser? Okay. So I'm glad it's not just mine that's crashing. But the way this works is main.lua for a Love2D game is always going to be the entry point. So you have this main.lua, it's always going to start here. And in my case, I create this global variable called game, and game it contains this game code. So if I go to the game file, code/engine/game, this creates a whole bunch of like engine specific stuff. This is where I have the love.load, love.update, and love.draw. It's pulling those in from specific files, like the draw file or the update file or the load file. This is where all of this logic is held now. Where before I had all of this code in main.lua, now it's separated out into load.lua. So this way, main.lua can stay very clean. Everything's contained within game. Game is the one that calls the load statement, the update function. It has all of this stuff stuck inside of game, and that way main.lua can stay nice and clean, nice and tidy, and then game.lua has a bit more complexity. But even this file is pretty simple. There's only 67 lines on this file. It outsources a lot of the logic for load and update and draw and cursor and effects and events and all these things. These things used to be in just main, but now they're exported. I can't even work with two files. Take it one step at a time. I would say if you're working on a small, simple game, like if we use Pong as an example, I would say create a main.lua for the main game, keep all of your code in main.lua, but for any specific code that's for like the paddle, the player's input, make a paddle.lua and just have one extra Lua file where you have your main.lua, and then you have paddle.lua, and that way it's separated in just one aspect. Pong mentioned, yep. Yet again, Pong has been mentioned for the 100th time, but it is a good example. I think that is a really good way to do it, though. What I'm doing here is pretty complex, where it has a bunch of different files and everything separated out. This is a really, really nice, clean way of doing it, but it is it's not easy. It takes a lot of thought and planning to get it working like this. Pong is life. I love Pong. I'm glad I'm not the only one that loves Pong. Have I thought about adding a day and night cycle? I have thought about that, and that is something I could do, especially with shaders like I was showing. Someone mentioned a sunset, so if I like boost the saturation, make the red go up a lot. So we're going to make it really red, but we're going to decrease the blue, make it a little bit darker. Would a sunset have more green? I guess it would have a little bit more green. No, I guess it wouldn't have more green. It would just be more red. It would definitely be less blue though, and more red. So if I wanted to go with sunset, I could I would need to adjust a little bit more. This seems too saturated, actually. Like, it's hard to look at. But you can make different times of day by just adjusting the shaders. Like, this kind of looks like the morning or the sunset. But then if I change it to be more blue, where the blue is the one that goes up, and red goes down, green goes up, we're gonna do more green, more blue. This looks more like a midday, bright noon, and then let's try something more like a nighttime. My new dark is not really potent enough. I guess it is getting a little bit darker, but we need to make it a lot more blue if we want it to be nighttime. More green and less red. And if it's nighttime, it's probably less saturated too. Probably even more saturated if it's nighttime. It's kind of bright, but it does kind of look like night. What I'm getting at is you would be able to adjust these colors to get different times of day. Like, this doesn't really look like... This really doesn't look like nighttime, but it does look more like nighttime than that sunset scene I just showed a second ago. So it's kind of like a bit of a mix. They're gonna be a pause menu icons now. Yeah. I think I put. When did I put these in? A couple weeks ago, maybe like a month ago. I put these in, but I think these look nice. I think it's good. I'm still reconsidering how I want to organize the what is it? The menus and the UI, because there's a lot to do on that front too. I guess this does kind of look like nighttime. Like the dummy over here looks like it's dark. The fire doesn't. The fire looks too desaturated now. There's a lot of things I could do to fix this. Like, the fire looks like it's being affected by these shaders, when really the fire should be immune to any shadings that the level provides. The fire should always be bright and red and hot. And right now, it kind of looks like a cold flame. It looks like the flame is being muted with the rest of the level, which that really shouldn't be the case. The fire should stay strong and smart, and not smart, strong and bright. I shouldn't say smart. It does look like that, yeah. I'm officially with Love2D for a year. Awesome, that's cool. It does have that learning curve, but I'm a big fan of Love2D. I think it's great. So, with that oil up, that's quite the interesting message. When I have the chat display on my left, I'm able to see some of the more questionable messages before they show up, and so, sometimes I say yes and sometimes I say no. But yeah, let's try to behave ourselves, guys. Let's not type anything weird. All right. Game of Thrones had a dragon spewing blue flame. Oh, that's cool. I love dragons and I love like blue fire. In fact, I don't think I have the sprites for it anymore. I did actually implement a blue fire. But I think that now that I have all of these taken care of, this plants folder is all good to go. So I'm able to move on to something different. And actually, you know what I should do while I'm here is handle the trees, because those are also disorganized. In this environment folder, I have a few different things. So first is... look, there's so many duplicate sprites. I have like a sunflower sprite. I have these two trees. These are the old trees. Remember when this was the tree sprite? There were a lot of people that hated this tree sprite because like the perspective is off. But what I'm gonna do is go through all these sprites and see which ones I actually need. I don't think I need any of these. I think almost all of these are just like junk. Okay, these are things I need to carry over and migrate. Sujan, hi, welcome in. I sound different in my videos. I think that when it's a scripted video, I do sound different. You know what? I agree with you. When I'm speaking kind of ad-lib or like on stream, I think my voice is a bit higher, and I definitely don't sound as professional, I don't think. because I say like weird slang words sometimes. But yeah, in my videos it's very scripted and clinical. I think that that's kind of the main thing that why it sounds different. What I want to do is I have these plants, but plants and trees are kind of different. Trees are going to be considered props. So I'm going to take these trees that are considered props, like, or these two actually. The banner, definitely. So that's staying. And we'll take the blossom. That's going to go over too. This is another thing. This is something that we could work on today for a little bit, is trying to figure out the pixel art animation for the trees. Weird slang words. I mean, when I say weird slang words, I mean like dude and bro and yo. I say things like that a lot, and that's what I mean by weird slang words compared to corporate lingo, where like when I was at Microsoft or I was writing a corporate email, I normally wouldn't say things like bro or that's sick. Actually, I would. That's something I remember. I remember one time someone was showing me their code or something they were working on at work, and I said that's sick, and I don't think they realized that I meant that's good, because saying that's sick, it sounds like a bad thing almost. But this is an animation for the blossom tree, and I'm not super fond of how it's animated. Do I have an example of this somewhere? Yeah, here's what the animation looks like up here in the corner, where it's like kind of fluttering. It's not quite as good as I'd like it to be. This is a better example because right here. So this is the animation for the blossom tree, and it's okay, but it's very stiff compared to the animation for like the grass or these flowers. So like you see the flower animation of this grass on the ground, or the sunflower. The sunflower sways in the wind very smoothly compared to the tree. The tree it's very stiff like an animation, because that's what it is. It literally is taking these different sprite sheets or these different animation frames and alternating between them. But that's causing a very stiff animation. It does look weird. Yeah, I've been thinking that for a while. The problem is I don't really know how to fix it. I don't know what else to do to change it. At least I didn't say that's poggers. Yeah, I don't think that you'll ever catch me saying poggers unironically. I might say it ironically. Guy shows you his code. This is sickening. That's kind of what I think he thought. I think that he thought that when I said that's sick, I think that he thought of it like, that's sick and twisted. Like, that code you wrote is sick. Like, you're a sick person for thinking that. Hopefully he didn't think that. The top. The leaves separate the sway separate and sway like the plant. That's what I think is gonna have to be, but I don't know how to do that is the problem. So the way that the sunflower sways is that, where is that? Moonshire, sprites, plants. The sunflower is able to sway in the wind because these leaves are separate from the stem, which is separate from these leaves. So I can have all of these different layers like swaying back and forth, and it looks like a cascading layer sheet. So if you look really closely at the sunflower, you can see each of the individual leaf layers moving in different rate than the stem itself. Maybe a slower frame rate. I think that would actually make it worse if I made this frame rate slower, just because right now the grass is at like 60 frames per second. It's at full frame rate, or it's actually whatever frame rate the game is what the frame rate of the grass is. So if I made the frame rate of the tree even slower, I think that would make the divide even more noticeable. I think what I have to do is kind of do the same thing with the grass, where I need to somehow take this tree blossom and separate it into separate layers, but I don't know how that's gonna work. I think I could try something like here. I'll do at least one attempt on stream. Instead of separating the tree into horizontal sliders, make layers and rotate slightly. Okay, I see what you're saying. Yeah, the way that this is animated is very lazy, where it really is just taking rectangular sections and moving them, where what you're suggesting is a little bit better, where it's going to actually take portions of it and rotate it like I do with the sunflower. And all that means I have to do is just Frankenstein this thing into different pieces and then put each piece on a different layer. So like on this layer, let's start by removing the stump. And then I'm gonna keep going iteratively. Let's start by let's go color by color to start. I'm just gonna get rid of all of the colors except for one. Okay. So actually, you know what? How about this? I think that it should be kind of like this, where I have this one colored section, and then if I take this colored section and kind of rotate it like this is just one layer, and actually I would have to kind of fill it in, I think I would have to fill this in. And now I'm gonna do the same thing, but do a different color. I'm gonna get rid of both of these dark colors. I'm gonna wait to get rid of that. So I need to get rid of... I guess I should get rid of the outline completely. And then I think I can fill this in. I think this might look okay when I finish it, but I don't think it's going to look that good. I kind of like the tree without the black outline. Yeah, I like how a lot of sprites look without their outlines, but for consistency's sake, any solid objects do need the outline, otherwise it kind of gets screwed up. So let's at least see, if I have this layer, if I take this layer and put it over top of this one, whoops. Oh my gosh. I'm losing my mind. I'm so annoyed. Copy this layer and then go over here and paste it. Okay, so that does look good. The whole goal of what I'm gonna do, is try and get each of these layers different, and then I'm gonna make them move independently, and it might look kind of cool. You have a test on Pythagorean theorem tomorrow, but I couldn't miss Moonshire Monday. Well, that's awesome. I'm a big fan of the Pythagorean theorem. Me and Pythagoras go way back. Okay, we're gonna go on to the next layer. That's okay. And then I need to keep the outline at least on one layer. So I'm gonna get rid of that, because these, excuse me, because these outlines are already taken somewhere else. I think I want to put, or do I want to? I'm gonna make the top of the tree shake differently. So I'm gonna get rid of all these outlines. So this will be another layer. And one final layer is going to be the tip top. Like this. Yeah, I guess this is okay. This is okay. This is okay. I think I am missing a little bit of outline, though. And then I guess the trunk of the tree is gonna have to just stay completely immobile. Basic shader outline. I don't think that will be necessary because the way that the outlines have worked for, like, the sunflower, the outline looks pretty good on this sunflower. It's just it's a matter of finding where to include the outline and where to leave it off. Because like this is what the sunflower looks like as a sprite sheet. You can see that there's a bunch of outlines missing, but if I go to the sunflower in game, it looks like it's fully outlined because the parts that are missing the outline are covered by parts that do have the outline. So I think it's a good mixture, and I think this could work for the tree as well. I wish there was a way for me to make the stump move too, but I don't think that there is going to. I think that the stump is going to have to stay immobile. I'm going to actually draw in some new pixels for this. There we go. So, also, I guess I should... Give me one moment while I think I need some black outlines on this one, like right around here. Not very many. Not very many at all. Oh, I might not even... I just need the... I need one. I need this dot. This is the only one I need, is this one right there. That's so funny. Because this outline goes all the way up to this. And then there. And then... there. Yeah. That's so funny. Okay. So the outline of this shape should go all the way around the entire tree. Is there something I should do with this shape? This one. Should I do something else with this? Should I remove this interior part? Would it look better without this? I think I'm gonna do this so it can expose the layer below it a little bit. Okay, now I'm gonna save this whole file as an sprite, which I don't like doing this, but I'll make an edit folder. Oh, this isn't even a plant. You know what? I'm gonna put it in a different folder. Sprite, edit. Okay, so now I have the sprite file, but with the sprite file, I need to actually export this as one sprite sheet, which is fine. I'm gonna delete this frame. So the sprite sheet is going, well, do I want a sprite sheet? I do want a sprite sheet if I'm going to be using the old system. I don't think I have time to implement that. I think I'm going to export these as separate images for now, so I can test it. Because I don't have the sheet parsing thing set up yet. So we're going to go to the other project, to Refactor, to environment, to plants. Okay, and then I need to go in reverse order, actually. Tree 5. Not visible layers, just selected layers. Export. No. File. Export. Tree 4. So this is taking some of my concentration. See, once I have the sprite parsing set up properly, then I wouldn't need to do this. I could just export this as a sprite sheet, and then the plant would be able to handle it, but I haven't set that up yet, so I need to actually export each of these as individual images. Okay. Now, I can go over into here, into... I need to import the assets, plants, and so this is how, again, this is not how I like to import assets anymore, but this is how I have to do it right now in order to test things out. We're gonna say tree 1, and I bet Copilot will be able to fill in the rest. No. Sprites.environment.plants.tree3. Thank you. No. There we go. Okay, now in plant, we need a new type. And it's going to be called tree. There's 5 frames, or 5 layers. I don't need this. I don't even know, genuinely, I don't even know what's gonna happen when I run this. So then to test this, I'm gonna spawn the tree using main. I'm gonna say if 6, I guess, if key is equal to 6. Then spawn plant tree. There we go. Except it's gonna be player.x plus 32. Again, I don't know what's gonna happen when I press 6. Nothing, apparently. Spawn plant tree. Okay, nothing came up. How do I do this? Is there another tree in here? Is that screwing it up? Oh, there is. There is another tree. I have to call it new tree. Okay. So that was a problem because I used to have an old tree implementation and it was getting overridden. Okay. It's very hard to tell, but a tree did get created. So you can, if you look very closely to the right of the player, oh my gosh, this looks so weird. Look right here when I press 6. Oh my gosh, you can barely see it. You can see the shadow. You see it? See the black circle? That's the tree. But for some reason it's tiny. Why? And also, why isn't it getting the... Sorry I haven't been reading chat for a moment. I've been trying to figure out why this isn't working. I have these. I have new tree. New tree. New layer count. Layer ID. Do I need to do this? I don't think I need to do this. That'd be crazy. New tree. Maybe. Maybe I do. No, that didn't work. Why would this not work? Sprout. I'm having a bit of trouble. I'm sorry, guys. What's happening is I have, where did they go? So in the Moonshire Prefactor project, I have the sprites, and I have the environment, and I have the plants, and I have these. Well, there's only 3 of them. Oh, is that the problem? Did I not export all? Did I not finish exporting all of them? I thought I did. Oh, maybe. Oh, you know what? Maybe I didn't. Oh no, they're all here. They're all here. I'm sorry about that. Man, I'm so sorry that I'm like so scatterbrained right now. I'm trying to do all kinds of things at once, and I'm not. It's not working out. So these are the 3 PNGs. I don't know what tree 6789 is. That's nothing. That shouldn't be there. Yeah, you finished watching a Brachy's Godot tutorial and gave up right after, but this time I'm working with my friend and we were making some good progress. That's awesome! Yeah, watching a tutorial is a good way to get the fundamentals in place, but the only way to learn is just to make a bunch of games. It's really, really hard to stick with it because it's hard. It's hard to stick with it because it's hard to do things that are difficult. I'm on the struggle bus a bit right now because I have all these plants, I have the tree sprites, and when I run the game and I spawn the tree by that ID, it's not showing up. Nothing's showing up. So what's going on with that? Oh, here. That's the problem. New tree. That's what I did wrong. It's still broken. Nothing's fixed. It should be trying to spawn new tree, spawn plant. It would go straight here, new tree, layer count 5. I guess I don't have to do this. No, still broken. Let's see how it gets the sprites, because maybe it's just not getting the sprites right. Sprite. Maybe it's set up differently, where... No, it's set up like this, sunflower. Let's see how sunflower is set up. None of these should make a difference. Maybe max parent, I guess? That definitely shouldn't make a difference. I guess I can try this. I would be shocked if this made a difference. That just... I wouldn't... No way. Oh my gosh, look at that. Okay, there's our tree. How's that look? Looks pretty great, right? Looks so good. By the gods, it's hideous. Okay, so the big problem, the big noticeable problem, well, there's actually lots. There's, it's perfect, no changes needed. Yep, exactly. Perfect, we're done. So first of all, the layering order is backwards. I created the sprites wrong. So I need to reverse those. The stump needs to be tree 1, and this one needs to be tree 5. So I'm actually gonna change this to tree 6. Tree 1. And then this is going to be tree 5. This is tree 4, but this one's gonna be tree 2. Whoops. Oh, this is annoying. Tree 4. And then tree 2. Okay, so this should at least fix the ordering issue. Just by renaming those files. Okay. So, it's a step in the right direction. It's a step in the right direction, alright? But, you know, there's some problems here. First is that we definitely don't want the trunk... Whoa. This is nuts. It's going crazy. Yeah, first of all, we don't want the trunk to move at all, ever. Oh my gosh, this is really, really weird. I don't see any problems. Yeah, you know what? Me either. Yeah, this is perfect. Some of these... I think the other thing is that they need to wave a bit less the farther up it goes. So, like, this top piece at the very tip, it's moving a lot. It's moving back and forth really, really far. And I think it's going too much. Moving on to grass. No, let's see what I can do about the trees. So the thing is, I don't really want to code the trunk to not move because maybe there's a way for me to do that. Rot speed, max wind rot. Okay, so if I change this max wind rot to 0, wind factor, rot speed, where does it calculate this? So I could, trunk change name from 1 to 0. I don't think that's necessary. I think I just need to make it so that, excuse me. Plant.stiff, how about stiff equals 1? This is kind of a dumb way to implement it, but the idea is this can be a list of indices where they don't receive rotation. So I think that when a layer is created, layer ID, I think I need to save layer.I equals I. So this is going to tell me which number it is. And then an update. If local rot equals this, but then we can say if self dot no, I shouldn't. It should handle this when it's created. It should handle this when it's created. If self.stiff, then else rot equals, or self.rot equals rot. And then we can get rid of this. So the idea is now I need to make it so that certain layers of favorite variable stiff, yeah. Now I need to make it so that when a layer is created, oh here I can actually get this. I don't actually need to keep I. Well, I'm going to anyway. But I can say if plant.stiff, yeah, then layer.stiff equals true. Okay, I think this is actually gonna work. I think that I already fixed it. Let's see. Yep, that worked. Okay, so that fixed the trunk. Now we need to address that it's like blowing too much. It's like going all over the place. It doesn't need to blow that much. So like the sunflower has this lean molt. Lean molt. And then I can just say lean molt equals this, and now it's not going to sway as much. Guys, I think we're onto something. I think that this is starting to look okay. It still needs work. It still needs work, don't get me wrong. But when I see this, it's actually not that bad. I see some misalignments. I need to add more like black layers on some of this. Especially this lowest layer. So let's go to this one. This one needs to be built up. I got rid of too much, is the problem. So let's go ahead and grab some of that. The top is kind of clipping. Yeah, there's some things I need to adjust still, so let's try and fix that. This alone should make it less. No, I'm still gonna get rid of this interior stuff. Don't need this. And then I'm gonna fill. I don't want to fill in all of this. I'm gonna do like this much. And then we'll do something like. Whoop. Yeah, it's fine. And then we'll export this layer. This one is 4? Or was this 1? No, this is 4. Okay, let's see if that helps anything. For bonus effect, have some layers poke through with some transparent pixels to give texture depth. Oh, that's a cool idea. Yeah, there's actually a lot of... What the... Oh, this is... I opened the wrong one. This is... Let me go to this... Music's loud. Sorry about that. Okay, now... did I screw something up? Oh, I did. Oh no, see, yeah, look at that. I accidentally overwrote tree 2. So this one was actually tree 2. I actually did get the names wrong. Am I having fun? I'm having fun. And then I need to re-export tree 2. No, I need to re-export tree 2 as tree 4. That's confusing. This, by the way, this is why I don't like having separate images. When I have everything combined into one single sprite sheet, it's gonna make this a lot easier for me to organize. But right now, since it's all set up into different images like this, it's so annoying. Oh, come on. I exported the wrong one again. Tree, yeah, this needs to be tree 4. I'm losing my mind. I'm losing my mind. This one needs to be exported as tree 2. Oh my gosh. Okay, sorry for the delay. I'm motivated to work on my game now. Awesome, yeah, I'm glad that you can get some work done. It's a good idea. Okay, that didn't fix the issue like I thought it would. It actually made the issue worse. Because now you can see the back layer too much. Which, I think we can still do that, but I'm gonna just remove some of these. We don't need this much blackness. But the way I had it before was a little bit too little. So I'm gonna try something like this. Okay, now let's try this again. Outlines crossing, yeah. That's the way it be sometimes. So this needs to be exported as tree 2. Whoops, this is the wrong one again. Okay, I still think shaders might be the cleanest way to add outlines for more complex forms like this. Possibly. It depends. So, if you see the sunflower, though, the sunflower looks great. The sunflower looks really good, and it didn't require any shaders. And if I'm able to do the same thing for the trees, I would like to. However, you're right, that it's possible that having a shader outline would make it better. I think it will be easier, though, if I try to make it work like the way I'm doing it. Yeah. It's gonna be a precise process to get this working. And actually, now that I'm remembering it, it was kind of a precise process for the sunflower as well, because when we look at this blossom tree right now, parts of it look really good, especially in the middle. It's only when you see like the edges do you start to see, oh yeah, I see that there's pixels sticking out. There's some things that need to be adjusted. But those are things that I can fix. I can just go in here and spend, you know, however long it takes, a few days or a couple hours, just going through and touching up line by line the little pieces that need to be adjusted, because like that line that I just got rid of is a big one. And let's see where there's another one. Looks like the other edge for this layer needs to be toned down a little bit too. So this one, this, and this. That can stay. And then there. I don't think we need this black spot either, so I'm going to go ahead and save that. And this needs to be exported as 3. I think that this will help with some of the clipping. I've cracked it? Well, that's so nice of you to say. I think that it is looking better too. I agree. Okay, let's see how that looks. I think that this is going to be a little bit better. So I see a little bit of pixels sticking out through the top, a little bit. Which layer is that? I think it's this one still. So let's tone this down some more. Because we really don't need these pixels up here anyway. These are all covered. Let's try this. Atomic, thanks for stopping in. Alright, let's see if that's a little bit better. Just the trial and error process. It's good, but I'm not fully sold. Not fully sold. There's one, I see one part sticking out right there. I guess I can clean that up. Yeah, like this part right here. Whoops. This one was sticking out. That's a very minor issue. There's still more I can do, for sure. But it's better. It's the top part. Let's see. I wish it was a little bit quicker for me to reopen the thing. Yeah, it is the top part. There's that gap between the top part and the line, so it's always creating that gap. Also... I think it looks pretty good, though. Maybe the... I think that there needs to be another layer for the bottom part. I think that this layer is too big. I think I need to split this layer up, actually. It's so close to being just right. I know, it is, actually. It is really close. That's always the hard part with stuff like this, is that it's just now just touching things up. I think I'm going to remove the black inline on the top one, and then add another black outline on the layer behind that. So one extra black outline on this one, just one, right here and right here. That's it. I think that actually I do want this one, so 2. And then we'll export this as, this is 2. Tree 2. Okay. And then, oh, well, let's see how that looks first. I forgot to get rid of the inline. I think it'll look better without the inline. Also, I'm going to add one more black dot, and I can see a tiny bit of clipping too. So intricate. And the bottom layer is too much. Yeah, the bottom layer is so big that it looks like the whole tree is moving in as one unit, when that should not be the case. Wait, I didn't do what I said I was going to do. I wanted to do that, and then I wanted to also change the inline for the top one. Yeah, I don't want this line here. I'm gonna put that instead. Okay, and then let's export this. This needs to be exported as 5, I think. Tree 5. Is the stream excessively long today? Yeah, it's the same. It's normal. I'll probably be wrapping up soon in the next few minutes. But regardless, I'm super happy at how these trees look. It looks like, even if it's not fully done and ready, it is the right direction that I'm going for. That looks pretty good. That looks pretty close. I think that it actually needs one less black dot on this one. Like that. Do I do everything myself or just the programming? Mostly everything myself. So I commissioned some people for help. Wolf helps with testing, and Tony helps with sprites, and I have some other people helping with sprites too. Ellie's helping with sprites. But yeah, in terms of development, it is like mostly me. I besides the few people I commission once in a while. This is pretty good. This tree's not bad. I do still want to split the bottom section up into an extra layer though. Let's do that real quick, and that will be the last thing I do for the day. So first off, since I want to add an extra layer, I can't do this on stream right now. It would take too long. It would take too much like hard coding. I don't think I can make the extra layer. But at the same time, like this already is a really, really good step. The bottom just needs a resize. Yeah, it does. Is like the big section at the bottom is just one big circle. And if I split that up into a one or a couple other circles, I think it'll look really cool and ripply. I might also change it so that maybe I can reduce the angle, because maybe it's swaying too much. Because the lean molt is 15. Let's change it to just 0.1. This use UV texture mapping. No, it doesn't. I think it's pretty good. It still is gonna it has this thing where all the plants, when you walk into the plants, they like tilt over. I think this tree will do the same thing. Oh yeah, it does. That's not right. But like this subtle amount of tree movement looks 99% devil in details. Yeah, I'm with you. It is like when we started this, it really didn't look very good, but now we're at the point where I think that this pink tree looks better than the way that the green ones are animated. There's still some work I could do with it, because I'm like nitpicking at it, and I can see some things that I would probably want to improve on before finalizing it. But the smoothness of it matches the tone of the game a lot better than the like sprite sheet animation for the trees. So I think this was a big improvement. I'm happy that we were able to do this. It's something I was wanting to do for a while, but I knew it would be time consuming and annoying. So thank you all for joining me as I worked through that. How do I make good pixel art? Do I practice more references? It's just doing it all the time. The way that I recommend everyone learn pixel art is to make games. So like make Pong or make a really simple Space Invaders, make anything. And force yourself to make all the sprites for it. And your sprites are not going to be good, but if you do that a lot, then eventually your sprites are going to be great. And that's where I'm at, is that I did a lot of sprites when I was a kid that were really bad, but now my sprites are kind of good. And I bet that in a few years, my sprites are going to be amazing, because even a couple years ago, I really didn't feel as confident as I do today. I feel a lot more confident with pixel art today than I did just a few years ago. So I'm hoping that in a couple more years, I'll feel even more confident. But yeah, on that note, I am going to wrap up stream for today. I'm going to go get my Mickey D's. And thank you all for being here. I will be back again next week for stream. Thank you all again for chatting, like Rain and Tijlipa and Denzere, Dead Hunter, Chillfruit, Monmeat, Lynn, Rescue Squad, Wolf Eterni. I think that's about it. Thank you all so much for being here. I will be back next week for yet another Moonshire Monday. And don't forget, I am going to be posting a video this week. It is ready. I worked on the thumbnail this video. I will be back again next week for another Moonshire Monday. Thank you all, and I'll see you again. Old School Geek, thanks again. Thanks for becoming a member too. Don't forget those the transparent pixel leaves. Yes, I'll try that out. Thanks everyone. Bye.